And we are back, everyone. Welcome again to Obawa Radio. This is your host again, Stevenson. You know I miss y'all. You know how much I miss y'all. I miss y'all like a fat kid loves cake. And I know you've heard that before, but I miss you guys. And I'm glad to be back on this line again. Again, thank you guys for being online, being informative, being aware, and coming on to get some knowledge from these authors that hail from different parts of the country and the world, because this next guest she's gone global. I mean, my goodness, this lady just blown me out of the water. So without further ado, again, my name is Stevenson. I'm host for the evening of Ubawa Radio. For those that are jumping on for the first time, UBAWA stands for Urban Books, Authors, and Writers of America. We're dedicated to the promotion of literacy and the advancement of authors and writers from underrepresented groups. It's so good to be back. I just have to take a deep woosah breath right now. But nevertheless, I got to keep going. We have a special guest for the evening who goes by the name of LaDonna Marie. And this young lady is such a sweet soul, and I love her country accent because I'm from the South, y'all, too. She has a great book that's out. It's called Lessons 2, Mirror Conversations. It's a poetic tale of the life of Abby. I want to know who Abby is, LaDonna. I got to really get this person as she discusses her love life and her journey in front of the mirror. This book entails a closer look at how Abby faces the giants in her life and overcomes through awareness and restoration. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I even get into who she really is, LaDonna Marie, are you on this line?
I am on the line. Thank you so much for having me.
Woo, I'm so glad that you're on here. And you know, when I saw your book called Mirror Conversation, I had a song for you. It just came in my spirit, and it was by, you remember Kelly Price, Mirror Mirror?
Yes.
It made me think of that song. So the next time you're out doing this book, play that song.
Okay, I will make sure I do that.
Please. And I'm not even going to charge you for that one. That one's for free. I just want to be able to see, it worked. So I just want to give a little bit about you. I just want to hear your lovely, sweet, beautiful country southern voice. And then we're just going to go in and you just let the people, pour out that positive love on them. Is that all right? Is that all right?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So just a little bit about Miss LaDonna Marie. Not a little, because this lady deserves true accolades. She's hailed by American and European literary reviews experts as one of the greatest up-and-coming act-provoking writers, which is none other than LaDonna Marie. Y'all going to remember that name. The literary artist is an award-winning international and best-selling author. She also is a motivational speaker and founder of Planting Positive Seeds. Having earned some of the industry's most glowing reviews, the critically acclaimed writer will be the first to tell you that she traveled a long way to the remarkable destination she now enjoys. LaDonna published her first poem, in an anthology, Whispers, with the League of American Poets in 2007, and went on to self-publish her freshman book, Expressions of the Mind, Body, and Soul. 3 years later, without any effort on her part, she was recognized and received a certificate of congratulations from Congressman Benny Thompson, 2nd District of Mississippi, y'all. There's nothing minimalistic about her accomplishments, as you can clearly see, which includes wide-ranging collaborations and associations ranging from a U.S. representative to Australia, London, South Africa, and Italy host. My goodness, this lady has done some great things. She's a positive person that keeps doing great things. She's received so many accolades from literally all over the world, like Paris, and it's like she says, London and whatnot. LaDonna received her BA in social work from Alcorn State University in 2005. She earned an MS in counseling studies from Capella University and an MA from South University in professional counseling, respectively. In addition to consulting, Marie delivers keynotes, trainings, writer insights, networking, and strategy sessions. Her book titles are available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Until Tomorrow Comes, receive a 5-star literary book review for readers' favorite and a 4-star professional literary book award from Red City Review. Originally from Mississippi, she now makes her home in Georgia with her 2 wonderful children, Landon and Layton Cook. And if you guys want any more information, we will let you know at the end how you can contact and get in touch with her. Whew, I need to take a good glass of water after that one. You made my throat burn.
Thank you
Hey,
so much for reading that.
it is my pleasure. I'm only giving them what's been given to me, and it's nothing but love. And you've really been focused on what you are and what you are doing. So I just want to just jump right in and, I mean, first of all, let me move on. Let me say this. Does anybody want to give a shout-out, a love to, or thanks to right now that could be possibly listening?
I just want to first and foremost say thank you, God, for the gift that you've given me. And to any of my friends and my social media friends that are listening, my family members who may be listening, thank you all for your continued support in, this poetic journey that I'm on. All the way.
Thank you. Okay, so let's just jump right in here. Let's go ahead and, we're going to start serving the appetizers first. The bread is already on the table and the water is too. And the tea is coming, trust me. So when did you first decide, LaDonna, that you wanted to become an author?
So this started for me. Actually, God made the decision for me, and this was around 12 years old. I was sitting in my room. I always predicate that song that Brandy had, Sitting Up in My Room, back in the 1990s. Yeah, so I was in my room and I was thinking, and at the time I was a teenager who felt misunderstood. I felt like I was going through, different things with love and just trying to find my place in the world. I knew I wanted to be motivated, I wanted to help motivate others. I wanted to love others. I had this increasing amount of, love and compassion for others. But at the same time, I was hurting. I needed to learn how to matriculate through my teenage years, just being misunderstood. And so I felt really, really down. And it was like God just came to me. It was like, my second encounter. And he just said, I'm going to give you this gift of writing. And as I begin to heal you, your words will begin to heal others. And I've been on that journey since then. I've been writing. I've been empowering. I've been sharing. I've been uplifting. I've been going through, but I've been learning my lessons in order to help people to be empowered and to help pull some people up and say, I've been where you've been, or I have, received a download from God that talks about this area. So how about you read this? And you'll feel like somebody knows what you're going through. And so I've always wanted to be the person for other people that I needed when I was younger. And so this has been a journey since I was 12 years old.
Since you're 12. How old are you now?
I am 34 years old.
Woo,
I just said 34
right.
September the 1st.
That's all right. Well, happy belated birthday. And
thank you.
The reason why I asked that question is because you're so young. And one of the key things you said in your conversation was God came to you and said, I'm going to heal you and give you the gift of writing so you can heal others through your poetry and through your writing.
Right.
One thing I did notice is you said I use my poetry to shed light on issues, sadness, brokenness, relationships, life experiences, love, and spirituality. Please explain to the callers, in depth is what you had to experience and go through in order for you to now help them.
So, sadness and brokenness, when you feel like you're misunderstood, because at a young age, I already knew I was who I am today. I had faith in myself as a 12-year-old, knowing that I was going to have a mic in my hand. I was going to be somewhere talking to somebody, encouraging them, telling them I already knew this, and I could see it, but others around me could not see it. They couldn't see it because it wasn't their reality. It was mine. It wasn't their dream. It was the one that God was creating in me. And so when you have people who don't understand your dream, your vision, and that's even today in life, you feel a little slighted. You feel like, well, why you don't believe me? And, why you won't get on my bandwagon? Why can't I do this? Because I think sometimes when people don't see it for themselves or they don't chase after their dreams, and so that made me sad. That made me feel broken. It made me feel rejected. And even in relationships, I had wounds that needed to be healed. I mean, I was a young girl who I didn't get all of the maybe the conversations that I wanted to have about boys. There were certain things that I needed. So I was really out there looking and trying to put things together and do it the best way I could. And so I got in some relationships and I got hurt. And I was looking, searching. And then with my spirituality, God was showing me that everything that you need and everything that you're looking for outside of yourself is within me. So at the same time, when I'm trying to battle, looking for love in all the wrong places, and God is saying, I'm that person for you. I can heal you. Let me close those wounds up. Just come to me. And so all of that was in my childhood. Like, he kept telling me there's so much more for you to do. As a young person, I was very, very broken, and I attempted to commit suicide. And he told me, it was a very low moment in my life, but he spoke to me as clear as day, and he said, this is not your ending. I validate you when nobody else does. So I'm the one who created you. I know what your purpose is, and I had to start believing myself, because, see, I already knew what it was, and I had others around me who did not see it. So it was an internal battle. I was trying to, be who I knew I was, and then fight against what was, reality at the moment. And so with all that I was experiencing, that growth, because all growth is not easy. All growth is not fun. Like, you have to actually go through some things, and I had to start to become aware of my surroundings, of what I let in my ear, what where my focus was. And so all through that, every poem that I wrote, everything that he downloaded, it was healing my soul, healing my heart, but also speaking to those who felt the exact same way that I felt at that age, and even from then until now.
Whew. You gonna let me get another glass of water. I mean, that's like beyond deep, because, like you said, it was downloaded by God, and you receive that in your soul, that this is what you're going to be doing, and you knew at that time, and nobody could see it, because why? It wasn't for them.
Right.
What he was doing in your life was putting that inside of you, so that you can tell others, this is how you get through, come through, make it out, overcome, and win. I'm giving you life experiences. Your pain turns into gain. Your glory story comes from your glory to story to glory. But at the end of the day, he chose you to write this, because even if people are listening right now, if you're listening, understand this, that it's going to be downloaded, it's going to come in you. You're going to know what you are. If you think you're strange or weird, it's okay.
Right.
Because you are unique and different and beautiful. You're not strange and weird. LaDonna is proving that you are unique. And you have to take that unique gift and go forth. And you sound very bold to me. You're a small little lady. Y'all don't know she is thin. She is a little olive oily in a cute way, in an African girl way. So, but at the end of the day, look what happened. Now you got books that are spanning across the globe. Why? Because you believe in the Almighty, and you push forward and say, this is what he wants, this is what I'm going to do. But see, a lot of us go through those things, and the books come out, and the plays and the movies come out, and look what's going on with you. So I am very proud of you.
Thank
I
you
hope
so much.
those that are listening will say, you know what, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yes.
So let's go, because we have many more questions. I want to get them all out. I like to make sure you guys get, you guys really enjoy your time. So my next question, since you have so many books, how did you decide on your first book, second book, and third book? Like, how did they all come about before we get into the one about Mirror Conversations?
Well, you know what, Stephen, it's just that I listen, because I hear everything he tells me. And, being a writer, I write everything down. So when the first book came about, like, he always gives me the titles. And so when he gave me Expressions of the Mind, Body, and Soul, because this was my first book, and all the hurricanes and stuff was going on, and at the time it was 2005, and it was Hurricane Katrina, and I was living on the coast, and I had been writing all this stuff from 1998 until 2005, and I was writing, and my stuff almost got messed up in the hurricane, but it didn't. And so then God said, I said, okay, so you telling me that you want me to do something with these poems that I have and I've been writing. And so then it took me a couple years to learn the business. And then 2007, like you read in my bio, I did something with another group, the League of American Poets. I was like, is my stuff good enough to get out there? And let me try it. And when I tried it, they snatched it up. They were like, yes, we're going to put you in here with these other poets. And I did the same thing in 2009. And I said, no. If everybody wants my stuff, then guess what? It's good. No more testing the water. I'm just going to come out with this book. And when I began to go to him, because I even go to him for titles and for things that when he puts it in my spirit, like I said, I write it down. And so Expressions of the Mind, Body, and Soul was everything that I had worked on from like 98, where it was 100 of them. It was 50 from like the older poems from like 98, maybe all the way up into 2010, and then 50 from my newer things of that year. And it was an expression, it was a holistic view of your mind, body, and soul and everything going together, because even in that book I did some erotic, I did spirituality, I did encouragement, I did, the sadness, because I have to meet people where they are, because everybody's not standing in the same place in the world at the exact same moment. And so
exactly.
I had to meet them where they were. And so when they read the book, whatever resonated with them could. And so the same thing happened with the next book, with Until Tomorrow Comes. I was about to write an erotic book. I had everything ready and in place, and God said, no, you're not going to do that. And I said, yes, sir. Okay, I will not. And I put the book to the side, and I had growth. I had the acronyms growth, and I wanted to make it a book. And he said, no, it's going to be called Until Tomorrow Comes. And he said, because I want you to show my people a journey of what will you do in your today until tomorrow comes, when you can believe in me, when you can trust yourself, when you can empower yourself, when you can just be who you were meant to be. What are you going to be doing in the day-to-day journey? And that book was about 5 different sections in our life, when we're lost, when we have things from the past or even current situations, when we have lovers scorn, when we're in relationships with our family, with our boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, when we're in relationships, and then that encouragement that you get or that you need or that you never got, that encouragement factor. And then I've arrived, like I'm here now. I know who I am. I feel more confident. I'm not cocky. I'm not boastful, but I believe in myself. I know who I am. I know what I need to do to get to the next place. And so that was that book, and I was so encouraged by that, and I was happy that God gave me that. And the next book, he went on to Lessons, Shadow Pieces Being Restored. And then he went on, that was about 3 young girls who they were going through different things in their life, and they needed, to tell their story. And I went through so much with that book, because it took me a whole year in 2014 to finish that book, because there were so many principalities. I know I needed to encourage young people. And God told me at that time that I needed to share a little bit more about myself, because I needed to show people why I was so motivated, why I was, I always wanted to encourage people. And so in that book, I gave a little bit in Chantel's monologue about, my suicide and how I felt. But I spoke through the character. So Chantel, I shared a part of my story. And so when I did that book at the end in 2015, that book won 4 awards. And I was happy because out of my obedience, because if I would have been still in my flesh and in myself and not wanted to share and not wanted to help the next young girl or the next young man or the older person who was still living with the pain, then it would have been about me, and it wouldn't have been about the people who needed me at that moment. And so everything, I always listened. And with the next one, I did a devotional. I would always say to people, hey, I'm just a poet. I'm just God's poet. Well, he changed gears for me. One day he spoke to me clear as day, and he said, I need you to get a tablet, and I need you for the next 31 days, write down everything that I download to you. And I went to the Dollar Tree, got me a little dollar tablet. Every morning I took 10 minutes to 15 minutes to listen, to hear. I wrote down the verses he said. I wrote down the commentation that he spoke to me. And out of that little dollar folder became my 31-day devotional of life lessons. It became that devotional. And when I wrote that, I felt so assured that I can do whatever he asked me to do, whatever he calls me to do. And then the next book came, Elegant Love Notes. I'm a lover. I love hard. Even when I was looking for love in all the wrong places, I had to learn how to love myself. But this book was like a Song of Solomon. It was that intimacy with words, how you connect with somebody. It's not sexual, but it's all about the communication that you have. And so it's elegant love notes, the love notes that you want to be left for you when you just come to the room or you see your loved one or your significant other and you want to speak love, positive, encouraging, just affectionate words. And so that book came about, and I was like, God, do you really want me to write this? Because at the time I was divorced, but that was what he wanted me to do in that season. He was like, I want you to show people it's okay to love. Show people it's okay to show affection. Show people, because I'm all about love. So they should be about love too. And when I wrote that one, it got recognized in New England. And then the next one, and the next one. So every book, and even the children's book, I have a children's book out there, Larry the Alligator Makes Friends. You know, I want to help the younger kids learn how to make friends because, you know, bullying and peer pressure and all that is going on. And so I really just listen. And as he speaks, I write. And I'm obedient to whatever he asks me to do. And that's just the way that I've been doing it since then.
And this is why you're successful, because you're connecting your soul to say, I'm here to do this. This is why I'm going to do it. Like you said, if I was in my flesh, this would not get done. And if it doesn't get done, then he's not going to be pleased. And now I'm in trouble because this needs to be out here. You're basically living your life poured out.
Right. Yes, I don't want to leave this world with anything, you know, so I want to give it all I have and everything that he desires for me to put in the atmosphere.
We need to package you, put you in a bottle, and just break you over all the authors' heads, including myself, because I need that from time. I need that all the time. So just give me some. Lift one up for me and all the authors is on here. Ladies and gentlemen, you're being fed right now. I think we get ready to bring forth the huge steak and the prime ribs and all that, because she is really serving y'all dishes served hot. Do you not understand how this lady's saying she just followed and listened to the voice, and she's turned out books. And once you do what you've been called to do on this earth, the doors will open, the connections will be made, you'll be globally known. Why? Because the living proof is on the phone right now with you guys.
Thank you.
So please take this. I'm only showing love to the way you're giving it out. I have to give it back because it's in the pudding. It definitely is. So, that was a lot. My goodness. Okay. So let's get to this book that you have out now, Lessons 2, Mirror Conversations. Okay, I just want you to just give me more. I mean, the life of Abby. Is this a person? Is it yourself, or is it someone you know? Is this just something else that God gave you to discuss with the people? Because her journey is serious. No, it is so serious. I mean, when I think about it, I mean, you're standing in a mirror talking to yourself when you can't talk to anybody else, and you're standing in front of an inanimate object and saying, okay, why am I doing this? But you're encouraging yourself. So please tell the people about Mirror Conversations.
Okay, so how this came about, because there's pieces of my life in it, but it's not about me. You know, at some point in my life when I was going through some things, you know, separation, learning how to be a single mom, raising my kids, and of myself, and so I did throw a hint of who LaDonna Marie is into the book, but the other parts were downloaded directly because I have to. I write with the readers in mind. I write with the readers, you know, out there that are going through different things. But I would always, when I was going through, I would stand in that mirror. I remember the first year, the first couple of months that I had, my divorce was, you know, final, and, you know, I'm learning myself all over again, so I'm learning how to be in this world, and I would have to get in the mirror, and I had two Bible verses for me, and I also do affirmations every day, too, but I had two Bible verses that pulled me through, and I would always say, you know, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and I would also say, greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world, and those would give me strength every morning. That is, you know, nothing really went right, but maybe one thing went right, I could make it through the day. And so I had to start pouring in, you know, things to fill up those places that were missing. And also I used God. I just seeked him to help me move through. And so when he shed the light of, hey, you know, this is a book it's about to be about Abigail. It's about to be about Abby. You're going to tell because I love characters, you're going to tell the world and show them and how it can resonate with their life, maybe where they're standing. And then being a counselor and a therapist, you know, I meet so many people. And then just all of my life I've had people always come and talk to me because I guess I'm a great listener. And I'm a therapist and a counselor and an advisor. And so I'm always listening. And so I was the person who heard the stories, who heard the trauma, who, you know, I was a shoulder to lean on and many times. So I already had a perfect painted view of what was out there. And so through lessons 2, Abby sharing her story of where she started, how she had to, come through the bumps and all of the hills, and then how she fully learned how to encourage herself in the end, and how she, started to change her conversation, and she became empowered. And so that's always the twist that God gives me for my books, is to meet you where you are, to meet you. If you're down there in the dirt, I'm coming down there with you. And, if you need somebody to help you lift your head, then you're going to read a couple poems and say, I feel this character. This character knows what I'm going through. And then in the end, you're going to get that twist of how you can work on it, how you can overcome that adversity, how you can speak life into yourself, how you can change from something hurtful and painful, and it can be empowering and uplifting because you lived through it. And so I just brought all the punches out for Abby, and I wanted to speak to so many women, so many people out there who were living, lives where they felt like they had to settle for whatever you were given, but you're so much more. And so through Abby, I was able to create that world and to show people in every facet of her life how she did it.
Okay, so wonderful story. I want to piggyback on something you said earlier, and then I have a question for you about what you just spoke to the audience. Okay. You were saying that I had to go through, I had to experience. I had to go through situations and almost committing suicide and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Even though you had those situations, you've accomplished so much. I know your strength is from the Almighty. I know where it comes from. Mm-hmm. But in order for you to go ahead and still push through and create all these different literary devices for people to have in their hands based on your life experience is a wonderful thing. And it shows the people that you can tell your truth and show them that, listen, hey, this woman's going through some things, because some people don't think that because you see someone that's successful like yourself, they didn't go through anything, they didn't experience anything. But you're telling them, I went through situations and things and divorce, raising 2 kids, and nearly committing suicide, but I had to accomplish what was downloaded in me. Mm-hmm. So that is another great thing, because you're showing the audience that, because some people could be listening right now and it's like, I'm done, I'm quitting, I'm over it, I'm not doing this anymore. But you can't let your surroundings and your situation stop what's been placed inside of you, and that's what you did. That's why you were able to be globally known right now. So I applaud you again. I don't have my clapping machine, but I'm going to get one day. But I'm applauding you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, because the feedback that I get when I get people that listen to me or read the books, and the feedback is just amazing, because I've always wanted to impact people, and I've always wanted to encourage them. And when I know that goal has been accomplished, when I know, because I've gotten so many messages when people say your book saved my life, or it helped me, to move forward, or it inspired me to do this or that and the other. And, sometimes I have tears of joy, because like you said before, I live my life poured out, and sometimes the devil can make you think that it's so much worse, and that, like you say, you should settle and you should stay. But once you step on the other side, and when you figure it out that, hey, I can do this, I can live through this, I'm good. I've had some bumps and some scrapes, but I can move forward. It's just like it's so much rewarding. It's so much more rewarding. And so I'm thankful to every person, like you said, that's out there listening. Don't give up. It may be hard right now, but I promise you, if you just find that one thing, you don't have to have 20 million things in a day, but if you can find that one thing that can make you look forward to tomorrow and to making an impact and being better than you were yesterday, then you're already winning. You're winning.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it all, that your pain gained your story, his glory. Look what's going on now. Someone said, you saved my life. Who else is reading that hasn't talked to you yet? To say your book saved my life. You went through all of that so that you can do this, because there's some people that may not be able to be reached but through your book.
Yes.
And that's what's happening right now. So, that pressure brings on some great things. Like they said, pressure busts pipes. You remember that song?
Yes.
But it also pressure busts diamonds.
Yes, it does.
So
gotta go through.
Diamond for others. And that's why you are. You're an author. You're an artist. We take your work very serious because that's what he gives us. So, again, I applaud you. I'm fake hand clapping over here right now.
Thank you.
So, how long did it take you to complete your first book, and what was the process like for you?
Well, actually, it took me actually 3 months to complete my first book, and the reason why I say that is because I was always writing, and I was always ready. But I tell people, you know, like I said, I started writing in 1998, and so when 2010 came and I made the decision that now I'm going to be a published author, I had already had all of my material. So for everyone that I meet at book festivals or when I go other places, and they always come to me and they say, LaDonna Marie, I have a book in my belly. And I tell them, you got to get that book out of your belly, you got to get it on some paper, or you got to get it into the computer. You have to get it out. And because I was ready, the process only took me 3 months. I was working 2 jobs. I had a 2-year-old. I was pregnant with my youngest son. And I started in July, and by September of 2010, my book was published. And I went all through the process. I found my people to help me to edit it and to proofread it and to make sure that it was quality material that I was putting out into the world. But the one thing that I always tell people is you have to write. Your book is not a book until you have a manuscript. So you have to continue to write. And so the process was fairly easy for me. Being that I'm a writer, I'm always writing, Stevenson. I'm always writing. So, like, the reason why I have, like, so many books out, because while I was publishing one, I was writing 2, or I have stuff that was in the archives that was waiting for its turn, because I do everything in order the way that, because everything comes out in perfect timing. But the exact same way that I got them from God, the titles and everything I have, that's the way that I publish my books. And so everything comes out in its season when it needs to, at the right exact time when somebody else is going to be looking for that or they need that. And so I stick to the script of, how the books come to me, and then I just publish them as I go forward.
There you go. So the process, to me, it sounds like the process was easy for you because you were churning them out, and you had, like, mandates on you to say, get this done.
Yeah.
Did you like that, or was the process a little difficult for you?
No, it wasn't difficult. It wasn't difficult at all, but I tell everybody that you always should research. You need to know what you're doing before you get started. You need to be able to even find, answer the questions that you're looking for, like how do I do this and where do I need to go and who's a good publisher for me. And so I took my time and I did all of that research, and so that's the reason why the process was relatively easy, because I had already answered all of my questions, and I set it up to where, everything was a step, making sure I had a checklist to get to the next step to get it out there.
Okay, so you did a lot of research through Google, or because some people are like, oh, this is a lot already to write this book. Now I have to research and I have to go look for it. That's too much. I need to hire somebody. So give me just a feel where it is that you went to find your information.
I did. I went on Google, and then I searched. I searched like the website to find out if I wanted to be a traditional author, if I wanted to be a self-published author, and so I went to find publishing companies and different things like that, and so it just took me on a place of finding, like, what would I need to publish. The simplest things you could put in Google, like, what do I need to do to be a self-published author? What is the checklist of what I need? And so I did utilize Google. I also utilized books. I went on Amazon and I found, like, some books that say maybe how to write a book in 30 days or, different things like that, or self-publishing help. So I found, like, different books like that helped me to kind of, like, have all the answers that I needed and to continue to move forward. And I went to the library as well to just see how things were already done, looking at the books and looking at, like, what would I want my book to look like and what would I want my cover to look like, and finding cover artists and editors and proofreaders and, graphics and different things like that. So, I use a lot of social media to find people to work with, and, like I said, the internet to find my research.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, if you guys, anybody that's just jumping on, we are on the phone with the authoress, Miss LaDonna Marie, author of many books into infinity. A current book, Lessons to the Mirror Conversations. So you've been talking about this, and it's just so exciting to hear the vibrancy, the electricity, the good energy through your voice. Give me the most rewarding things about writing your books and being an author.
So for me, the most rewarding thing is actually the feedback. It's actually knowing that I have impacted people's life in some way, because I always said when God gave me this gift, because I was technically in hiding when I was younger. Like, no one really knew that I was going through. No one knew I was in pain because I had a smile, but it wasn't connected to that self-love. It wasn't like, the vibrant and radiant person that I am now, like fully 100% self-care. But back then it was just it was a mask, and that's in one of the books that in Until the Marcons, I wrote a poem called The Mask, and it was that mask. And so now I know the target of people who have issues, and everybody's not going to say, yes, I have a problem. And so I write in a way to reach those people who, like you said, my books are always going to be out there, so if you never get a chance to see me or hear me, but if you get that book and you open it up and you take time to read it, you'll find something that resonates with you. And so when they're able to reach out to me or leave a review, or I just had a person call me the other day on my business line, and she left me a long voicemail of how she saw me on Jackson's Finest television show, and she was just so inspired. And that just brought me tears of joy, because I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And another time I always ask God in between times. I was like, God, am I really, am I close to where I'm supposed to be? Am I doing what you want me to do? And this was when I had my third book, and this young lady, her dad had came by. I was standing out selling some books, and he came by and he bought the book for his daughter, and I wrote a quick message in there for her, and, he took it to her. And he said she really didn't like reading and she didn't like a lot of stuff. But 2 days later, she got the book. She sent me an inbox on Facebook, and she said, God sent my dad to you, and I'm so thankful that he did. She said, because when I opened up this book and I read it, she said, it sounded like you were speaking directly to me. She said, everything that you had written in that book was for me. And so I write for my target audience. I write for the people who need that compassion, or they need that healing, or they need that encouragement, or they need that, come on, you can do it. I'm in this race with you. Let's keep moving. Let's keep going. Don't give up yet. And so the feedback is just amazing.
I can clearly see that, because the rewards of lives being saved, lives being changed. Like you said, I wore a mask, which was a smile, knowing I was full of pain, not knowing it was going to turn out to something that you had to release out of your hands from pen to paper, or fingers to computer, and end up launching your books and putting it out there, and people are like, wow, I need this. And, they were led to buy your books. They were led to go on your webpage, however it was, they were directed to say, you know what, I need this right now. So that's the rewards right there. You saving someone from near death, possibly killing themselves, or whatever they're going through, to find that peace, that closure that you need in order for them to move forward. Mm-hmm. So since you were releasing all this positivity through your books and telling people from your pain to your purpose, was there ever a time you felt like giving up?
I did. I did, and many times, like when I was younger, when I was in college, because I was just like, this life thing is hard. I was like, this is so hard, and I just have to be real. And, it was, to me, it was like it was so hard, but I learned that, sometimes the more you try to get your stuff together and you want to, like, be that positive person, it's like the more the principalities, and like they just turn on the faucet and say, we're going to try to get her down, or we're going to try to, just put a damper on everything that she's doing. But for myself, I had to start to speak so much empowerment, and I had to rise up to the expectations of what God says about me and what he had been saying since the very beginning and what he's still saying, and I had to raise up to meet that new level of where I am and who I am and what I've been called to do. So the times that I felt like giving up, I just, would regroup. I would take the time that I needed to take a step back. Or if I had to cry it out, I would cry it out. If I had to laugh it out, I would laugh it out. If I had to write it out, I would write it out. And so the writing became another thing for me. Even before I knew I wanted to be a counselor when I got older, it was my therapeutic release at a young age. It helped me to pour out what I needed on paper so that I wouldn't go do anything crazy or, get in all types of trouble. But that was my safe haven to be able to pour it out. So, there were times when I felt like giving up, when I didn't have people on my bandwagon, and when people were saying you're never going to be a best-selling author or international, author, and, nobody's really going to read it, to God turning it around and my second book being known in Paris. Like I was second book 2014, I was an international award-winning author. And so you never just give up. You just keep moving forward in what your purpose is, and all things, they'll work out. Sometimes when they don't, you just learn your lesson and keep moving forward.
Yes, and that was a mouthful. And someone that could be listening right now that could be encouraged, because some people totally walk away, but you gave them different channels and different ways to, this is how I released this, whatever was going on with me, to want to walk away and quit. Pressing through, persevering. I cried it out, I yelled, I screamed, whatever, but you made it happen. But it's good.
Right.
People to know, oh, wow, I do that. I do that too. Oh, don't you do that? I do that. That means I have to keep going. And
That's right.
Here's the thing, I got to push forward. This lady's telling me the truth, and I need to be on the line tonight. So we thank you for that.
Thank
so
you.
Now that you have all these great accolades, these books are being sold all over the world, you got it down to a science. But how are you handling the business side of this to really get it out there, How are you really handling it? What is your process?
Well, my business side, and when you're by yourself and you're self-publishing and everything, you have many hats that you have to wear. And so over the course of the years, I've been learning how to get myself together, how to, get my business together, my budget, things that I want to spend for the year, places that I want to put my books, like book festivals and different things that I want to go. And so I wear many hats, the hat that says you have to promote, the hat that says you have to advertise, the hat that says that you have to find, festivals and things to go through. And then when you make the money, what are you going to do, put up this money, then buy more books with this money, or staying visible. Where am I going to speak, in the next couple of months? Like making sure. And so the business side is something that, I started LaDonna Marie Books in 2011, even when my first book was a year old. And I learned so much more over the years of just how to stay visible, how to make your name a household name, because everybody's going to be calling LaDonna Marie, like you said. I'm going to be out there, and so I make sure that I promote. I have different things that I get in connecting with other people. I've co-authored 5 books as well. We're really 6. We just released one 2 weeks ago. So I've co-authored 6 other books, and so I make sure that I network and do everything until my business grows. When I start to add people in, I've had to make sure that I set times to schedule and make sure that I'm accountable for where I want to go. And like I said, I just did a television interview for Jackson Finest 2 weeks ago. And so I had to make sure that I made connections to stay visible so that other people, now that I've moved to Mississippi, that they can learn about who LaDonna Marie is. And so I'm learning the business side. I still want to make sure that I go to the masses. I really want to travel internationally. I was awarded like an author finalist for London back in 2014, and since then it's been on my plan to make it over there, to go to the international book things that they have, and as an author, as a poet, and to be engaged not just nationally but internationally as well, because my books and things have already been there. And so the business side, I am learning, still researching on, and knowing, staying on top of things that I need to do to make sure that I'm I'm making the money. The gift, I love it, but all businesses have to make money to sustain, and so that is a primary focus, just learning more and putting myself out there and staying visible in all aspects of social media and Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all the places.
Exactly. Being active, being relevant, and making your face known and finding the outlets in your area and other places to say, how do I put my books out there? And that's what you're doing. So, you're doing well. Trust me. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Do you edit your own books, or do you have an editor?
Well, I have an editor. Yeah, I cannot edit my own book. Yes, I have an editor because I was like, I know what I write, and like if I read over something, I already put the word there. It may not be there, but in my mind, it was supposed to be there. So I learned that, like, first book number one, that I have to have someone to go through there and help me, with a fine-tooth comb to edit those books for me.
Exactly, because like you said, you wear many hats. But that one, you said, nope, not putting that one on. But I know you're going to master that, because you have a lot of things that you've mastered to the point of, I'm great at this, but eventually you're going to have to, like me, hand it over to a publicist. And I know it's kind of hard to let that baby be babysat by somebody you don't know. And I love all of your resume is beautiful, but this is my child. I mean, like, give me something else. So just go easy on them, okay? Just go easy on them.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
So, LaDonna, who does your the cover art for your books?
So, God gives me the vision. I see the vision of what they look like. So He downloads what they look like. For the first book, I worked with Youre, a publishing company, and they did that one. But my amazing graphic designer, he helped me with book 3 and 4 and 5, those 3 books. His name is Kenny Black, and he's on social media. I've been using him. I used him for those books, like for Lesson Shadow Pieces Being Restored, for Elegant Love Notes, and also the 31-day devotional. And just as soon as I tell him and I describe to him, how it's done, how I see it and how God downloaded to me, he was able to make the book covers look so amazing. And so, I used him for those books.
Okay, yeah, because I love the last cover that I saw about the mirror conversation. It was really cool. Simple. Just a mirror. That was it. That was it. So, I know most people, they don't think this could ever happen, but do you encounter writer's block? And if you do, how do you even get past all that?
Well, you know what? I said like I didn't, but because the thing about me is I write all the, I used to write all the time, and I would write whatever I was feeling at the time or whatever God needed me to write, because like I said, I'm always writing 2 and 3 books at one time, but I devised a system of whatever I'm writing, whether it's love, all of the love stuff go in one folder or one binder, all of the encouragement or empowerment, or if it's a specific book for that book, it'll go in one place. And so whatever I feel, the inspiration that I feel, I would write it down. Now, for me, like when God, because He switched me, because like now I'm publishing 2 books that are coming out before the end of this year, but I wrote those books like a year and 2 years ago. And so, but I had slowed down on writing. I've slowed down on writing any more books because I have probably like 3 more after these 2 to come out. I've actually slowed down because I've had over an overwhelming amount of information. But for anybody that's out there that's going through writer's block, what I would sometimes do is I would just get me another tablet or another little, book and write about gratitude, or just write about how you're feeling, because everything is a connection to something. And so whereas if I'm not writing, a poem, I still have to stay holistic into my voice. My voice has to be able to be channeled. And so I would go away from, if I didn't feel inspiration to write my books or write poetry or do any type of devotionals, then I would just journal like I did in my earlier years. I would just journal or write out my feelings or write how I'm feeling or why I'm feeling. And that would sometimes open up inspiration for poems or for new ideas or new titles that I want to work on in the future. So I would always say, writers write. So whatever, if you feel like you're at a block, then you write about that block, and you write about maybe what do you feel maybe causing that block, or how are you feeling at the moment, and then that will start to sometimes open up. I know it did for me, open up some places in my life that I wanted to share more on, or that God wanted me to expound more on.
That's a really good point. Like you were saying, like, writers write, number one, and number two, you said, well, get you another tablet, write on this one, or write down why or what is it that's blocking you from writing. That's a really good point. I never even thought of that, and I've never heard anybody explain that like that. So, I mean, me personally, that'll go on my personal journey. Say, okay, write something, keep going. Because being a writer, because you're putting everything on paper, it's like, oh gosh, you gave me something that I was thinking, and the listeners will do the same. Because that's really good. I really like that. Oh, wow.
Thank
so,
you.
Again, you're just a global entity. Have you had a book signing? What was your last book signing like?
Well, my last book signing, I went to the Mississippi Book Festival, and I took all my books there, and, you know, I sold books and I signed books, but I've had amazing, I love to sign. I love meeting people. If you don't know, I'm a big talker, so when people come to my table or when they come by to see me, it's always a conversation, because I meet the person first, and then I share with them, you know, what I have, and then they find what resonates with them. And so, yeah, I've had book signings. The last one I did was at the Mississippi Book Festival, was August the 19th, and it was amazing. And I went also to something in Jackson. There was a women's women's strength conference, and I went up there and I sold some books and signed some books there, and probably at the end of October, at the end of October, from October the 26th to the 28th, I will be in Houston, Texas, at the national biggest book festival in Texas, and I'll be signing books there.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, you know, Obama has one coming up, too. You know about that one, right?
No, I didn't know.
You're going to have
to
go
look into that.
Yeah, just go. Yeah, see, I just gave you a whole new arena and area to conquer right there. Make sure you check it out. You're welcome. Make sure you check it out. So, besides social media, we think God is free, that we can use it. You know, you have to be keen on how to use the hashtags and really get yourself out there. What other ways are you using to get your books out there besides social media?
Well, I'm doing radio interviews, and also, like I said, the television interview. I did that. I'm also doing like little pop-up places in different places. Like I said, at the conferences and different things. When people have conferences, and then I also have a conference, Planting Positive Seeds, like you read in my bio. That's one of the things that I do. That's another segue for me to be able to share my books. I've gone out to the school to read some poetry, and also at the university, I've talked to some of the classes, some of the communication classes, and the English classes about poetry, about, you know, even character development, how I develop the characters and like my frame of mind. And so being able to be out and to be visible and to go places and to touch people, those are other ways, you know, besides social media, that I'm doing that. And also, like I said, interviews as well.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Well, you seem to have the market cornered already. All you need is a publicist, and I'm looking forward to seeing an agent, a publicist. Looking forward to seeing your name in the African American Museum soon in D.C., like Miami.
All right. Thank you for saying that existed. Yes, I receive it. You know, I met Maya Angelou at ninth grade. I mean, when I was in the ninth grade, she was like my mentor, and I would always read her stuff when I was in high school, and I kept saying to myself, and I actually met her and Nikki Giovanni when I was in ninth grade.
Oh, wow.
And that was like another big accomplishment of my life because I got to speak to her and tell her that I want to grow up and I want to do things that you're doing, helping people, meeting them where they are, sharing stories that, heal, that sometimes are painful, but they heal. And I got a chance to speak those words to her, and she got a chance to tell me to, keep moving forward, and I've been doing it ever since.
Words have power. You spoke it, you met it, and look what you're doing. And she spoke life into you. You're speaking life into me.
Amen.
Life on this line. And that's what we need. Those words carry power. Can you imagine if you really saw the words that you spoke on people or words people spoke on you or you spoke on yourself, we really saw them and what they look like and whatnot, I don't think people would be too happy. So I'm going to this conversation. You can flood me with the words you're doing. And flood the audience because we really need it. Trust me. In this day and time, we definitely need it. So, as a woman of color, what inspires you the most?
What inspires me the most is that I feel like somebody has to be the change. And I want to be the change because I don't want us to continue to go on with the status quo or to believe what you've heard because somebody else could just be telling you something just because they don't believe in themselves. And so I want to stand up and show people that you can do it, that you can have it all, that you can change the situations that you're in, that you don't have to live a mediocre life. And even when you're from even the smallest of towns, you can still reach the nations. You can still reach, and be internationally known. And so I want to be a light and be a beacon of hope for people to never stop trying. And so every moment I get, I'm always going to try to give some positivity because I know that we are lacking that in society now, in the way that we speak to each other, in the way that we even support each other. So I'm so thankful that I have this opportunity to share tonight on this show, and that to the listeners who will listen to the words that I say. And even if you don't go buy a book, if you just believe in yourself, start to believe in yourself more, start to tap into your God-given talents and abilities, and then you'll see your life change before your eyes.
Exactly. Because you experience it. That's why you're able to give us this love and this positivity of telling them what they need to do and go forward. So inspiration is truly needed. So who is your biggest influence?
Well, my biggest influences are, like I said, Maya Angelou, Nikki Giovanni. There was a poet called Countess Court. I think it's Countess. He did The Hey Black Child. When I was in 5th grade, I read that poem. I love that poem. Those were like two people, Langston Hughes. Those were ones that I read and that over time helped me to cultivate, who I am as an individual poet and find my voice.
Well, in order to be the best, you have to be influenced by the best. And those are some top-notch African-American authors that you just divulge out of your mouth and said, okay, I have some big shoes to fill. Not even filling the shoes, but filling your own shoes. Someone who said, I want to be like LaDonna right there. So,
right.
We always look up to those greats because we have to imitate them without emulating them, but not being them. But saying, you know what, I'm in the same league as you, so therefore I'm going to look up and respect your art, your work, and I'm going to be able to go forward with my own. So, big up to all the writers that have passed on, that left a legacy and an impact for us to be able to look up to.
Yeah.
So we all made mistakes, LaDonna. I know we have. But have you ever done something in the past you ever regretted? And if so, how did you get through it?
Yes, because I've made some mistakes, but what I did was, at a young age, I think I was still doing mirror conversations. I had to look at what I was doing. I had to look at, if I was stuck or how was I going to move forward from those places, and not let the mistake keep me stuck, but catapult me to move forward. And so that's from everything that I've experienced and that I was living in, I always wanted more and better. And so I just spoke it into existence of how I could see myself, and I started to walk different, because in order to change things, you have to change. Like I be telling people all the time, I can tell you, I can try to motivate you, but until you motivate yourself, until you want it, there's a saying that I have been listening to, until you want to see as bad as you want to breathe, then you won't change it. And so people have to get that motivation to say that I want to be better, that, hey, I know I messed up, but I'm better than this, and this is not where I'm going to stay, and this is not who I fully am. This is just a product of what I've been through, but I'm so much bigger and better. And so through the mistakes that I made, I just dusted off my shoulders, packed it under my feet, and I kept stepping.
Because of life experiences in the past, so I feel you. Listen, we're getting ready to close out in a minute, but I want to make sure I'm going to ask you a few more questions, so if you can ask them as strongly and as quickly as possible, we would appreciate it, because I want to make sure that people hear you. So what is one goal you want to accomplish if you haven't already, because you've done so much in this year?
Oh, my gosh. I aspire to be a Pulitzer Prize award-winning author. Like I want to have a Pulitzer. I
That's amazing.
And so I have been devoting on elevating my craft to whatever I got to do to get a Pulitzer Prize. I want a Pulitzer Prize.
That's major. That's amazing. When you make it bigger, I interviewed her. Yes, LaDonna. Oh, you got your Nobel Prize now. You don't know me, right? No.
I know you, Stevenson. Remember.
That's a big accomplishment, and I hope you really make it there, because that, oh my gosh. To see that happen, they don't hand those out to just any and everybody. That means that you made an impact.
That's right. That is right.
So what does LaDonna have planned next? What's coming up?
So right now, I'm in the process of working on 2 books. I have a rebuilding fragments book, and it's like I'm a life coach as well, personal development. I want to help people to continue to motivate themselves and help them self-help. And so I have a book that should be coming out later this fall, and also I have my second devotional, 21 Days of Positive Inspiration, will be coming out in the winter. And so I have those 2 books that are coming out. I'm also working on staging my play, because when I first started out with Less Than Shadow Pieces Being Restored, when God gave me the characters, He wanted me to do the play. And so just 2016, 2017, I finished the play. So I'm looking now to stage it, to find, I'm going to start casting, finding some people who can help me. I may start small in my town and then maybe, branch out into other places. But I really want to get that play done, because I want to touch that atmosphere of a different way of getting people to see literature, to see words, to see action, and to promote positivity.
Awesome. Oh, my gosh. Oh, gosh. Okay. I enjoyed you. I enjoyed you. Listeners, I know you enjoyed Miss LaDonna Marie. I want you guys to make sure you go out and get this young lady's books. Make sure you check her out. But LaDonna, I'm not going to leave here. I want you to tell the readers and others in the literary community, how do they reach you?
Okay. Well, you can go on my page. I have a page on Facebook, LaDonna Marie. My website is www.ladonnamarie.org. I have a contact me on there if you want to get in contact with me. All the social medias, my name is LaDonna Marie or LMB Poetry. That's LaDonna Marie Books Poetry. I also have a fan page under LaDonna Marie Books. So look me up on Amazon. I'm LaDonna Marie. You'll see my little face smiling with all of my books. Thank you all so much for this opportunity, and I look forward to speaking to any of the listeners, the readers, everybody, just for your feedback.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the one and only. I've renamed her. So you ready for your new name?
I'm ready.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, I present to you the authoress, None other than LaDonna, living my life poured out Marie. Ladies and gentlemen, please give this lady some love because she's living her life poured out. You can use that. That's another that's free. I'll get the royalties later. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for taking out your hour, this hour of power. I'm hosting in Stevenson of Ubara Radio. Like we always say, same time, same place. God bless you guys. Good night, all. Take care.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. You're welcome. Good night.